Hi, I'm Karen, and welcome to today's presentation on Sacral Authority. To review, when we're talking about authority, what comes first is your aura's strategy. So, if you have sacral authority, that means you are a generator. So your first strategy is to wait to respond, because as a generator, you have this aura that's attracting everything that's right for you to you. So really trust that. And generators are pulling life to them. All that, that is full of life is coming towards you. And then you will respond with your energy. And that's really what we're going to be talking about today with your authority. So they work together, especially in this case with the pure generator. And knowing your wait to respond strategy is so helpful, because it just protects you from wasting your energy and your time on experiences that aren't really right for you. So when in doubt, practice that and notice the things that are coming to you, and then respond to those. So assuming that you've waited, and generators are good at waiting. We've been conditioned out of just beingness and just going about our life. We've been conditioned out of that because we've been taught to be productive and to be important and to be busy, and yet it's very natural for a generator to exist and then to just respond with their energy when they have it to things that show up. Just a brief breakdown of the authorities. There are 7 different authorities that you could have. If you have sacral authority, what that means is that this center here is going to be defined in your chart. And then this center will be undefined, the emotional center, or the solar plexus. Because if you have the solar plexus defined, then you would have emotional authority. So that, basically, if you're a generator that does not have the solar plexus defined, then you have sacral authority. Now, let's look at what the sacral center is all about. The sacral center it's a motor. It's I like the word life force for this center. It's life force that's available or not. So it's life force that's specific. It's smart. It's vital energy that has an intelligence to it. It's not available for just anything. It is available for certain things, the things that are right for it. So it's an intelligent life force that is here to be used in response. And so these are some key words for the sacral center. I really love the word availability or not. So, even just as we go through this presentation, think about, your life and how, in certain scenarios, you've had all the energy in the world available for a certain person or for a certain activity. Let's say it's like maybe you love soccer and you have all the energy in the world to play soccer, but you have 0 energy for emails. And every time you have to go do your emails, you just feel like, oh my gosh, you're like pulling your leg or dragging your feet. That's the saying I was looking for. And it's not a personal thing. It's like your energy just has energy for what it has energy for. And it doesn't have energy for what it doesn't have energy for. And, when a friend invites you to a party and you're like, I don't really want to go to that party. It's not because you don't like the friend, or, it could be that, but you don't have energy for that. You don't have energy available. You know, it's like resource available or not. And sometimes it's not, and it's usually not personal. The Sacral Center has to do with sexuality and fertility as well. So in a way, it's like a creative center too. It's, you know, energy available. What you have energy available for, you're like putting, sprinkling magic dust on things that makes it grow. It's creating fertility. It's creating life. So what you put your life force towards will grow and create more life. So that's also nice to think about. It's, you know, what you truly have energy for will flourish and will grow. Well, not necessarily, but that's the idea. That's really just how the Sacral Center works. Okay, so Sacral Authority, again, means sacral definition, but no defined solar plexus. And this center actually has a voice, the Sacral Center. It speaks. It makes these primal sounds like and or So yeah, yes, I have energy for that. No, I don't have energy for that. Not sure. I need more information. Ask me another way. I'm not clear right now. So the sacral response is in the moment. It's in the now, and it's only in the now. So it's not like you can really know the future. You just know what your response is in this moment. And it's a surprise. It's like you get to discover, oh, I have energy for this, or oh, I don't have energy for this. If you know, people with sacral definition are not the only people that make these sounds like it's people with sacral definition are the only ones who are here to make their decisions based on these sounds. So there is a difference. And, you know, I have noticed as someone that has emotional authority that it's very helpful to be aware of what my sacral sounds are, because that's giving me an indication of what my sacral is speaking at different places on my emotional wave. So I might be, it's just interesting. It's good to notice. So I love this slide because it's speaking to the fact that this is kind of just happening. You as a generator are pulling things to you, and then when they show up, your body has a response, or it doesn't. And you don't know what your response is going to be. So this is truly a surrendered way of living that, you know, human design is inviting you to, is to discover what you are responding to and not knowing necessarily what your energy is available for and not having necessarily a plan. You know, once you respond to something, you know, then it might be right for you to make a plan. But, you know, being a generator is really truly about kind of stepping into the unknown day after day and letting the body show you what it's responding to, what it has energy for. And, you know, noticing when you're off track. As a generator, your signposts are always frustration to let you know, oh, you know, I'm not really using my energy well. Maybe I didn't listen to an and I went ahead with something anyway, and now it's frustrating. Or, you know, learning about your response by noticing, you know, frustration, and then on the other hand, satisfaction. You know, the satisfying experiences that come your way, and that the ahas that are really good. And just learning about this through your own experience. There's no right or wrong way to discover your sacral authority. It's really an experiment. So your process as a sacral being is to get in touch with your sacral response and how it works. First of all, letting yourself make these sounds freely all the time. Do you want, tomatoes? Do you want celery? Do you want olives? I'm not sure. I don't know. Getting to know this. You might also experience your sacral response in your body. It might actually feel like a lighting up, in your sacral area. It could feel like you might feel something in your genitals. You might feel like an expansion of life force or a contraction of life force. It's also been described as a gut feeling or a gut response. So, noticing your gut and, just notice, like, how does your sacral speak to you? And, and then there's also just this idea of energy available or not. It's like you might feel your energy kind of perk up. It's like, like I have energy for that. No. Or like, So for you, become really attuned to your body, your response, how you're responding to things, both through sound and also in your body, and how your gut is responding, your energy, your life force, your sacral. And I'd be very curious to hear how you experience this, because this is all about your experiment and trying it out. And then, it's always great to hear what you're learning and what you're finding for yourself about how this works. So one thing that you can do is, there's a thing called a sacral session, which is where you actually have someone who asks you questions. They need to be yes or no questions. Like, let's say we're deciding about, potentially moving. It's like, do you want to live in San Diego? Do you want to live in Edmonton? Do you want to live in Timbuktu? The really tricky part about doing this is that it can easily become an activity where the mind is interfering. And so the best moments for me experiencing the sacral is when I hear the sounds coming out and I'm like surprised by it. It's like, oh, wow, I didn't know that was there. For example, for a while, I was like, I'd never heard that unclear sound, but that one, I've never heard that come out of me. So I was telling my friend, my other human design friend, who was helping me set up a human design presentation, I was telling him about how I didn't know that sound. And then he asked me a question, like, do you want this thing to be set up this way? And I was like, I was like, the sound is coming out of my mouth. And that's when I learned the unclear sound. So that's the best. It's not a mental thing. It's simply the body responding. And I see that generators can really get lost doing this kind of sacral session type thing, where they get really rigid and mental about having people ask them questions like this is the right way to learn what their sacral response is. And at the same time, I think that it can be probably very useful to begin to explore your sacral. So you might try that, and there are human design practitioners out there that do sacral sessions where they actually, have a list of questions prepared, and they can help you learn to discern your sacral response. my tendency would be to just let life teach me over time, organically. But I wanted at least to share that possibility with you. You can become well versed in having people ask you questions like, can you ask me if I want to have the lasagna? I'm having trouble deciding what I want on the menu. Do you want the lasagna? Oh, okay, I thought I wanted it, but I guess I don't. I've had that happen quite a few times. And that's the fun of this, is like, you don't know. It's like, I remember asking, I think I probably told you this, but I asked my friend out for dinner. I was like, hey, do you want to come over for dinner tonight? Or go out for dinner and have dinner together? And she was like, yeah, I do, sure. And then, and then she's like, do you want to have dinner together? I was like, I don't want to have dinner together. And I didn't want to have dinner together, but I didn't know until I was asked. So generators, it's so much easier to know your truth when you're asked. So you can become good at asking people to ask you, and to let go of any shame about that, because it's just very helpful. It really works. For those of you who have someone in your life that has sacral authority, you can learn to help them out by listening for the question that's unanswered behind what they're saying. It's like, well, what they're really wondering is, do I even want to take this job? They don't know. They're unclear if they want this new job or not. So you could just say, hey, like, I hear an unanswered question here. Do you want me to ask it to you? And then they can say, and then you can say, do you want this job? And then they can answer. So that's, especially for projectors, that's a helpful skill to have, is listening for the unanswered question. I absolutely love this slide because I really experienced this. Human design did not change my life. Responding to life did. So that is the critical difference. It's like, you can learn everything you want about human design and all about yourself, but what will truly and dramatically change your life is the day-to-day practice of following, waiting to respond and following your ahas and listening to your ahas, and basically honoring your life force and what you really have energy for. When you do that day in, day out for a year, your life changes, unless you've already been doing this, in which case, you didn't really even need human design. So this is the truth. What I like about this slide is it's this idea of just being fierce about honoring yourself and your truth, because a generator doesn't know themselves unless it's in response. So they can easily get washed down a path that's not really right for them because they never really inquired, or they really just never got clear before they move forward. So, letting yourself respond and, having people in your life that you ask to ask you will help you to discover what your truth is. So weights, attracting life to them, responding to what comes. Yes, waiting meaning being, just doing your thing, living your life, and seeing what comes, ideally without a schedule, so that your day can unfold as you attract what's right to you for that day. Feels healthy and vibrant, full of energy. Yes, that's a healthy, happy generator is satisfied, full of energy, vibrant. It's life force, it's vitality. This is an act of true rebellion, what you're doing. If you're a generator and you're learning to follow your sacral authority, you are a rebel, my friend, because how many people of, the 70% of everyone that you know is healthy and vibrant and full of energy? Very few people. It's not normal in our society for people to be that way, even though most people are generators. Why is that? Well, it's because everyone's abusing their energy. They're not using it well. They're doing things they really have no life force for, and so then they're having to, deplete themselves in order to accomplish what they're doing. So, the sheer act of you learning to honor what you actually have energy for is an act of rebellion in our messed up society. So it's not going to be something that most people around you are used to, and it's not. They might even resist your choice to honor your energy because they haven't learned that themselves, and at some level they know that they're a slave. So I just encourage you to really be radical and insist on honoring your energy, and even in a society that is pulling you and trying to persuade you otherwise. Uses their energy in a healthy way and goes to sleep exhausted. Yeah, so a generator, especially one that doesn't have emotional authority or a manifesting generator, you're meant to just use up all your energy and then go to sleep when exhausted. So if you're not tired, then it's not time to sleep yet. And you might enjoy playing that with that of just, using all your energy and going to sleep when you're tired. And you might find that you go to sleep at unusual hours. Like you could go to sleep at 6 p.m. or 2 a.m. So respects the energy of non-sacral beings. That's really just about letting it be okay that not everyone's going to have the same amount of energy that you do. Unhealthy, initiates from the mind, never checking in with themselves to see what is true. So that's pretty much very common in our world. That's the way most people are doing it, is they think an idea, and for example, my idea of like, hey, do you want to have dinner tonight? I initiated from my mind. I, thought, oh. And then, luckily I had a friend who was into human design that actually had the presence of mind to honor me by asking me, do I want to go for dinner? So I could discover that I didn't want to go. So learning to check in with yourself and your body's energy is really what this is all about. Loses energy for what they initiated, becomes frustrated, and quits. So I have, really heard from a lot of sacral people that just because something's an aha in the moment doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to be something that you want to follow through on. For example, one of my friends with Sacral Authority, she loves live music. So when a music show comes to town, like, she's had the experience where she buys a ticket. She's like, I totally want to go. She buys a ticket. But then she's kind of let herself off the hook that if in the moment she actually, like the day of, she actually doesn't want to go, it's okay with her that she doesn't use the ticket. So she stopped even booking her trips to go see concerts with friends because she found that friends were disappointed if she, booked the ticket and then she didn't actually want to go. So just because you get an aha doesn't mean that you're necessarily in the moment. It's going to still be an aha. And I think that's important for you to just let it be okay that, your sacral response could be one thing one moment and a different thing another moment.
and not to get all mental about having it be locked in one place. I mean, you have no idea the orchestration of like why things are the way they are, and it might have been the perfect thing for you to get that ticket and then decide not to go. But in general, the idea is that, you know, if you're listening to your sacral, you'll be doing the things that you actually have life force for, and that they'll tend to be more satisfying and more sustainable for you. Okay, that's it for today. I really look forward to hearing what you have to say and how your experiment goes with your Sacral Authority. Okay, much love.